Hey everybody, just welcoming you back to Elemental Yoga. Today's sequence we are working on the hips, a thing that I know we all always get tight with, especially if you're sitting in an office chair at a desk all day. If you're working out a lot at home and forgetting to stretch, I can guarantee your hips are going to start getting tight. So these are going to be a few movements and poses that will work really well to opening up the hips, getting movement and that fluidity back to those joints. So for today's sequence, we're going to actually start on our backs. So lay down on your back. And we're going to bring the soles of our feet together and let the knees drop apart for our bound angle pose, but on our back so we're nice and relaxed. If this is too much at any point, you can always decide to straighten the legs. But if you're not really feeling any pains, definitely just hang out here. Have your arms down by your sides with the palms up. And allow the eyes to close with a few gentle blinks. Following that natural breath. As always, being aware of where it's at. If you feel your breath is still quite rapid or shallow, give it a moment, but then begin to lengthen every breath. Deepening those inhales, lengthening the exhales. Allowing it to become nice and smooth. With every inhale, feel every inch and corner of the body expanding, rising, allowing in that positivity. And every exhale, feel your body just relaxing for that moment, grounding a bit further. Releasing any judgment, any pressure within you, let it go out. Our thoughts, they may come and go, but we try not to linger on any one particular thought. So when your mind wanders, take a moment to acknowledge it. Then always try to just push that thought aside and come back to the breath each and every time. Never labeling any thought as good or bad. Allow the thought to just be. And again, just push it aside and come back to that breath, those long inhales, long exhales. With your next few breaths, take a quick scan of the body from head to toe. Aware of all muscles, all joints, every injury or soreness, and respect that always throughout your entire practice. Wiggle the fingers, just bring the awareness back to the body, and with a few gentle blinks, let the eyes open up, and gently lift those knees back together. You're going to rock the knees a little side to side. And then you can step your feet a little bit further apart, rocking the knees again side to side, almost pushing those knees down towards the center when they get there. Just starting to warm them up a little bit. And then stopping back in the center, bring your knees to the chest and either roll to one side or begin to rock back and forth until you come up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Starting today with a little bit of movement, we're going to keep that right foot tucked towards our body. Take your left foot and step it out in front of you. You're going to have it just stepped out a little bit on an angle. I'm going to turn sideways for you to see it a little bit better. You can use your hands here at any point to help lift yourself up, but I'm going to show you without the hands. Begin to rock backwards onto your tailbone, and then rock forwards using that right shin to bear the weight and lift yourself up, and then you want to pop those hips forwards, pushing them forwards, letting them really open up, maybe standing on the toes of that left foot before starting to sit your way back down. Rock back onto the tailbone again, rocking forwards, pop those hips out in front of you, and then again come back to seated. Rock back on the tailbone, rock forwards, pop the hips out in front, and one more, come back to seated, Rock back on the tailbone, rock forwards and pop the hips out in front. And then come back to seated. Here we're going to switch up our legs, bring that left foot towards the body, right foot steps a little bit out to the side again on that angle. Here you're going to rock backwards again, rock forwards, bearing the weight on that left leg, pop the hips out in front, really let them open up. Oh, I just felt a pop there. Coming back down to seated, rock back, rock forwards again, pop those hips. 2 more times. Forwards again, pop the hips. Coming back down, last time, get that nice movement in. And coming back to our seated. Here we're just going to swing the knees to one side, come up to that neutral tabletop, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. And on that first inhale, you're going to sink your stomach down towards the mat, tilt the head and pelvis up. And exhale, reach high with that mid-back, tuck the head and pelvis under. Inhale, sink the stomach, squeeze those shoulder blades together. And exhale, reach high with that mid-back, pushing the shoulder blades apart. Just continue with a few more following your breath, really connecting to the breath here. Your stomach sunk to that lowest point on the top of the inhale, reaching that highest point of the mid-back on the very end of the exhale. Feeling everything in your spine, your back starting to warm up. Really feel that pelvis moving. That works with our hips. And then come back to that neutral tabletop. Here we're just going to shift our hips from side to side. Starting with our left side as you inhale, swing that hip to the left, but you also want to feel as if you're trying to reach that left shoulder to that left hip, really opening up the right side of our body. As you exhale, swivel that hip to the right, again as if you're trying to touch that hip to your right shoulder. Inhale to the left, exhale to the right. Inhale to the left, really try to almost exaggerate that movement. That'll help open everything up. Exhale to the right. One more inhale to the left. And last exhale to the right. And then come back to center. Here we're going to step our feet forward just outside of our hands and let that hip sink down towards the mat. We want to make sure our feet are a bit more than hip width just apart with the heels turned in slightly. This way it gives our hips room to sink down between our ankles. You can always use those elbows between your knees to help push them apart. And here we want to make sure our back is nice and as flat as we can get so we get that length through the spine. We want to make sure the shoulders are squeezing together, the shoulder blades squeezing together. If this is ever too much and you find that you can't get too low enough to let the hips just relax between the ankles, you can always take a block or a pillow of some sort and literally just sit right on top of it. That'll relieve some of the pressure in the hips, especially if you're feeling any pain. 2 deep breaths here. And then bring your hands to the mat. Step that right foot out behind you. Drop the knee down and untuck the toes. Heel toe that left foot forwards between your hands for a nice low lunge. If this is ever too much, just drag that back leg closer towards the front. If you need to deepen it, 2 things you can do. Drag the back leg further away. Or you can always lift yourself up, place the hands on the knees, and have those hips sinking forwards and down. A little bit more active, so if this is too much to where you're finding you're even holding your breath, bring your hands down to the mat and take it 1 step at a time to let the front of those hips open up. A few breaths here. Still feel those hips sinking forwards and down towards the mat. Allowing everything to open up. Just feel that gentle tug, that light discomfort. Again, if there's ever any sharp pinches or pains, ease up on the pose or fully pull yourself out of the pose if it's that bad. Never push through it. And then begin to tuck those back toes underneath. Use that to help lift the hips up. And we're going to switch up our feet by dragging that left foot back and swinging that right foot forwards between the hands. Dropping the back knee down, untuck the toes. Again, find the low lunge that worked best if you need to ease it up. or simply deepen it by lifting yourself up and sinking those hips forwards and down. An important thing I actually should have noted in the last one is make sure that that front knee is right over the ankle. We don't want the knee pushing past. We don't want to create too much pressure or tension there. We just want to work with our hips. So make sure that front knee is directly over the ankle. A few more deep breaths. Feel that nice stretch happening, everything opening up. Then from here, you're going to tuck the back toes underneath, lift those hips up and drag that right foot back, just drop to the knees. Bring your weight to one side so you can swivel around and kick those feet out in front of you. Here we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and let those knees drop apart, just like we started. Same bound angle pose, but this time we are seated. We're going to hang on to the feet, sit nice and tall. Feel the pelvis tipping up. That feeling as if you're trying to stick your butt out behind you, and then using our chest as the guide, you're going to reach your chest forwards and down. This will help prevent us from starting to round our backs as we tend to. Makes the pose a lot easier. We're working more with our back in that rather than our hips. So this one, always use the chest to reach forwards and down. That way we're hinging from the hips here. You can always deepen it by using those elbows, sort of wiggle the knees down, press down on the shins. Make sure that you're gazing a little bit down but in front of you. We don't want to be gazing right in front and crushing our neck. We also don't want to be tucking the chin to the chest because that usually tends to make our backs round. So again, just sort of have your gaze down towards the mat but a little bit in front, trying to keep that neck as straight as possible. One more nice deep breath. Begin to lift your way back up. Use the hands to help the knees come back together. Rock them a little side to side, keeping everything nice and loose. And then stopping in the center, scoot a little bit forward so we can come all the way down on our backs. Here you're going to take that right leg and bring the foot just over that left thigh. So again, that right foot comes over the left thigh. Use your hands to help push that right knee open. Here, you can remain if this is enough for you. If you want to take it further, you're going to take your right hand and weave it through that hole that you just created, bringing the left knee towards the body and grab a hold of that left knee. You can always even grab a hold of the thigh underneath the knee. That eases it up a little bit as well. And just feeling though that your back, your hips are still down against the mat. We don't want to be lifting them up into the air. That sort of starts to round our back and defeats the purpose. So again, if this is too much, you can bring that left foot back down and just have it where your right knee is opening up. Find what works best for what we call our reverse pigeon or figure four. Just holding for a few breaths. Make sure you feel your shoulders relaxing as if they're relaxing against the mat below and not hugging them up to the ears or curving. That way we're just creating unwanted tension in the neck. Use just your arm strength to help pull that knee towards you. And gently start to release from the pose, bringing that right foot back down. Then use that left foot, cross it over the right thigh. Left hand helps push that knee open. And again, if you want to take it deeper, weave that left hand through the hole that you created, bringing the right knee towards the body, and then use both hands to grab a hold of that right knee. Again, you can always hold onto the thigh underneath the knee. Helps ease it up a little bit. But if you want to deepen it, just hang on to the knee and help pull it in. Always making sure that that left knee is still pushing away from the body while the right knee comes towards the body. That way our hips are quite square with one another. 2 breaths, relax the shoulders. And gently begin to release from the pose, stepping that left foot back down. One more time, rock the knees a little side to side. And stopping back in the center, you'll have 2 options. You can go into a regular Shavasana with our legs nice and straight. But if you feel your hips still need a little bit more opening, end with that same pose we started with, our bound angle pose, with our soles of the feet together, knees apart. So your choice here of what you feel your body is needing at this time. Arms come down by the sides, palms up, shoulder blades get tucked underneath, move the glutes out from underneath you, and with a few gentle blinks, allow the eyes to close. Take a few deep breaths before returning back to your natural breathing. Allowing your body and mind to just be. Every inhale, feel yourself breathing in that white light as if it's bringing in positivity, lifting the body up. It's bringing in tranquility, calmness. And every exhale, you're grounding further to that mat below, still releasing any heaviness, any tension within you, any bit of that gray energy you feel, breathe it out. This is your chance to do so, whether you're starting your day or ending your day. Breathe out any last bit of negativity that you're holding in you. A few more nice breaths here. Allowing your body or mind to still be at such nice ease. Using your next few breaths, feel that awareness coming back to your body, coming back to your mind. If you're in bound angle, gently bring those knees back together and straighten them down the mat. Take a moment to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rocking your head a little side to side. And reach those arms up above the head, taking that nice long body stretch. Leaving your right arm where it is, bring the left hand to the stomach. Bend the knees and gently roll to that right side. Maybe using your arm as that pillow for the head, just resting for a moment in the fetal position. One nice breath. So keeping your eyes closed, use your hands to help lift your way back up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Palms up over the knees, sitting nice and tall. Really reach through the crown of that head. Begin to exhale all remaining air, taking one nice deep inhale through the nose and sigh through the mouth. Bringing your hands together at heart center, a few gentle blinks, let the eyes open up. Namaste.